Hi there. Welcome to my humble channel. I'm glad that the algorithmic powers of the universe allowed you to see this. My name is Jeff Adams. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, and independent producer and publisher. This is the series Ye Old Indie Dude. Welcome. It's where I talk about inspiration and motivation for the songwriter or poet. But these ideas of inspiration can be applied to any field, any endeavor, because these are universal concepts. I also like to touch on these sorts of topics in association with inspiration. The fact that writing a song can be something of a mystical process that connects you to something outside of yourself. But before I continue, I always forget to ask, please subscribe to my channel. So more shows about writing inspiration can show up on your feed. If you click on the bell icon, you'll be notified when I release new episodes, and then please smash the like button if you would be so kind. I really appreciate that. But about writing, songwriting, it's really an amazing craft with a certain sense of focus that it requires. It differs than the creative energy of production, though. We could talk about that kind of creativity in a different episode. My last episode, speaking of creative production, was a little bit overproduced, if I might say so. Yeah, I explained everything that happened in the bio. I'm not going to go into it anymore. Now, needless to say, if you saw that episode, I promised that I would tone it down as far as the editing. Back to these ideas of inspiration. So, songwriting, you manifest the desire through your thoughts that you intend to write a song. You just say, hey, I want to write a song. So what goes on next if you're a musician? Otherwise, whatever, if you're a creative, you're going to write a poem or a story. Or maybe you intend on building a deck or mowing the yard or deep cleaning grout or analyzing sales data or designing a website. You see, you can apply these principles towards anything. I just happen to be a songwriter, so I apply my lessons towards that end, towards being creative specifically, towards bringing something into being purely from that which you can imagine, even though everything you do first begins as a thought. Here's an inspirational poem I thought was pretty forthright in the idea of motivating. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That was by William Ernest Henley. Very good inspirational piece. It caught my attention. I thought it might speak to this theme. Of course, there are obstacles in life that hinder our inspiration. Maybe we think of the Greek philosophers of old coming up with these grand notions of being while sitting under a shade tree in a toga. Well, perhaps this may have provided some impetus towards these concepts. I'm sure their lives were much more complicated, fraught with strife, and the busyness of everyday life, similar to our own lives in our advanced times, except our lives are fraught with a lot more distraction. But the thing about writing is, though, even distraction can be inspirational. You can write about anything, really. You just got to keep in mind the results you expect from that which you intend. Most people aren't lacking in inspiration. Everybody has their ideas about things. There seems to be a distinct waning in motivation, though. For many people, anyway, it seems. So I wanted to talk about that for a minute. It lends itself towards psychology a little bit, which is a little strange. I often conjecture that people that are creative are there are certain psychological differences in those individuals, whether that be people that have undergone things in which they need to express things in that manner. I don't know. That's speculation. I can go into that more in the future too. You know, life can be crushing if we allow it. In this day and age, it seems like it's a common theme to crumble under emotional duress. Of course, I'm generalizing. It doesn't happen to everybody. There has been a distinct increase in like the treatment of cases of anxiety and depression as one example, especially during the last 6 months, during the time of the pandemic, as of the recording of this. That notwithstanding, according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America and the National Institute of Mental Health, anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting 40 million adults age 18 and older, or 18.1% of the population. That's like 1 in 5, almost. There could be many like contributing factors to statistics like these. More often than not, these disorders are highly treatable, even though there's a huge percentage of people that don't seek treatment. You know, of course, like I said, that the COVID has only magnified this, and they've seen spikes in these sort of things. Now, what happens there? My little show on inspiration and motivation, I'm not speaking towards treating these kind of issues. I highly recommend that if you're suffering from depression or anxiety, that you seek the help of a qualified professional. Help is available. What I can do is speak to the things that I've learned through the experience in my life and through education and research. A lot of what seems to cause this sort of large-scale mental offset is trauma. I touched on that before. Trauma sort of compromises our ability to engage. It flattens our motivation because we replace our thought patterns of connecting with each other with patterns of protecting ourselves from each other, especially with the spread of disinformation and propaganda. The political climate has gotten so thick. What are we even allowed to talk about anymore? Well, hopefully there's no harm in discussing, wanting to pick up a pen or a keypad and start writing stuff down. Start being creative, start doing things. So what do we do, you know? As writers, we use our experiences as tools, as a sort of source code, not only for our perspectives, but towards expression. Being motivated is just the desire to do something with yourself. To keep that motivation or grow that motivation, you have to find your formula. What excites you when you write? So write out a list of topics, words, or phrases that are stuck in your mind at any given moment. Like now, for instance. No, after this video, of course. You try to clear your mind from all things besides what you intend at the moment. You can develop a discipline. If you want to be creative, it takes a little bit of what they call gumption. You want to maintain a positive environment in that which you can create. You know, it's not to say that the results are guaranteed or that you're necessarily going to create positive things, right? I'm not talking about the result of that which you're creating. You could be writing death metal, whatever you want, the most negative stuff in the world. However, amidst distraction is where I was going with the creating of a positive environment. I'm speaking about positive towards the flow of creative energy, the allowance of it. Also, the company that you keep. Speaking of distractions, if you're going to hang around people that are distinctly unmotivated, slovenly, and procrastinators, how do you imagine that's going to affect you? How would anyone accomplish anything under these conditions? How do you succeed? If you're able to affect your environment, you should do so. Personally, I live in a small space with a bunch of people. So I wake up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning as a matter of habit, just so I can achieve goals free of distraction, which includes meditation. Exercise is also important. Not to add another another level or several levels of motivation. You know, you have to be motivated in order to be motivated. No. However, there are health benefits in exercise, which include increased blood circulation to your brain. As a writer, I want to encourage you to take care of your brain, because it is, after all, your primary writing tool. These practices, though, they're like introductory disciplines. You know, they can lend themselves towards a higher perspective. Perspective is key. Well, Merriam-Webster defines perspective as the interrelation in which a subject or its parts are mentally viewed. In other words, it's a point of view. And it's a choice, whether consciously or not. We can train ourselves how to think if our perspectives aren't aligned with our intentions. It's not an easy prospect by any means. It may take time to make it happen for you. But for the purposes of beginning to write, or practice this towards a motivation, towards getting out what you're inspired to write, figure out your formula. I find if I can clear my mind of current frustrations, a flow occurs more naturally. You have to believe in yourself. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe once said, "Magic is believing in yourself. If you can make that happen, you can make anything happen." Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Do one thing every day that scares you." Hey, it's just a quote. You don't have to do that. I think the point is to face your fears. Perhaps you've always wanted to be a writer or a songwriter, but the prospect seems frightening, maybe. Mark Twain said, "The secret to getting ahead is getting started." Meaning there's no secret. Was it Master Yoda who said, "There is no try, only do"? I don't know. That wasn't an intended quote. I'm not sure. But in that vein of thought, I'm going to leave with this rendition today of Ye Old Indie Dude, episode number 7, with this quote. "Everything you can imagine is real." That was from Pablo Picasso. I definitely like the inspiration, even though from that particular individual, those words might be a little scary. I hope everything he imagined wasn't real. Holy Toledo. Thank you for listening. Please like this video so more from this show could show up on your feed. And please make sure and subscribe, please. And I'm a small channel here, and I focus mostly on independent music production. I do this series because I'm inspired by so many aspects, and I want to help by way of motivation for anyone else who might be so inspired. So thanks again.